So one of the most important things that we need to know in the data professions or data career is that there are mostly three different kind of careers within data profession. So the first one is data analyst. And in this course, we focus fully on data analyst. Okay, so we don't worry much about the skills that the data engineers need, skills that the data scientists need. We fully focus on the skills that the data analyst needs. The data analysts are the bridge between the raw data and the actionable insights. So you are bridging this gap between here is what the data we have, what we can do based on all the evidence we get from the data. The primary responsibility includes collaborating with business to identify the challenges and build data-driven solution for that. So this is really important responsibility. You need to be able to collaborate with businesses, understand their problem, and then build a solution for that. Just being able to analyze the data is not enough. Being able to do this communication and identify those problems is really important. And then obviously conducting ad hoc analysis, reports, creating dashboard, that's given for data analyst. And utilizing tools like Excel, SQL, Python, and Power BI is a must-have because those are the tools you need to get the job done. Familiarity with cloud platform is a bonus, but it's not mandatory. So if you know some cloud, that's good. But if you don't know any cloud, that's okay as well, because as a data analyst, you don't need to know much about cloud. And there are data engineers and data scientists. So data engineer deal more into the data management and the infrastructures management for data. So in a nutshell, data engineers make sure that the data is available for data analysts and data scientists. So they are like a backend engineer of data. And if you enjoy that side of part, then obviously you can learn skills that are more tailored for data engineering and you can become data engineering. But again, I'm just trying to show different career pathways there are. And then obviously there are data scientists. So if you enjoy more into like more of the mathematics and statistics part of data, then you can go on and become a data scientist. And current job market, I think these numbers are a bit outdated now, but yeah, as of writing, I think we saw it previously, there were like 8,000 jobs. So there were quite a lot of data analyst jobs out there, and few data engineers and data scientists. So core skill for all data professionals are data acquisition and storage. So data acquisition and storage is about how do you get the data and how do you store it? Because before you do any analysis, you need to get the data, right? So you just don't directly jump into analytics. Like how do you do the analytics when you don't have the data? So the skill that you need to have is about getting the data from somewhere, storing it somewhere so that you can do the analysis. And that's the next session that we're going to have is the data acquisition and storage. So tomorrow we will learn all about data acquisition and storage. And after that, we go to data wrangling. So data wrangling is about working with the data. So it's cleaning, transforming, doing these preliminary analysis. That's the data wrangling. And problem solving. Obviously, I have been talking about problem solving this whole session. So I hope up till now you got a good idea that data professionals need to have a really good problem solving skill and communication skill as well. If you can't communicate what you have analyzed, you're not generating any value and you're not useful to that company. Okay, so with that, what we can do is we can now go into tutorial. We can go on Seek or LinkedIn, so we can go on any listing website, and we want to find a suitable advertisement and look at the job description. And we do the same for data analysts, business analysts, data engineers, and data scientists. Looking at those job descriptions will give you a good idea of why those roles are different and why some of those roles are similar. For example, data analyst and business analyst, these roles are pretty similar. So data analyst roles will require you to build more reports, dashboards, work with the business to identify the problem and things like that. Business analyst also does the same thing. They work more closely with business, and in organizations where they have both business analyst and data analyst, the business analyst will work more with the business to understand their problem better, and then maybe they will pass on their requirements to the data analyst, and the data analyst does the actual analysis job. But not all the organizations have both business analyst and data analyst. So in the organizations where there are no business analysts, the data analyst does the job of both data and business analyst. So in a company, if you don't have business analyst, what you need to do is you need to work with the business to identify their problem. You need to do the requirement analysis yourself as well. You probably also need to do the project lifecycle management yourself. Plus, you also have to do all the data analysis as well. And that's why you need to build all those skill sets, not just data analysis skill, working with business to identify the problem, requirement analysis, even project lifecycle management. If you have all those skills, now you are a complete data analyst. So even though the title says business analyst, you can go and apply for that. Even if it says data analyst, but the requirement looks like a business analyst, you can still apply for that. There could be roles where it says business analyst, but the requirement is more like data analyst, you can still apply for that, right? But if you limit yourself to become a data analyst who only knows how to analyze the data, then you are limiting your options as well. Because now you can only apply for the jobs where they need a pure data analyst. And those are the companies where they have got business analysts who can work with the data analyst. And there are not much of those companies because not all companies can afford both business analyst and data analyst. So our goal needs to be that complete data analyst who can do all those BA things and data analyst things as well. And that's what this course will prepare you towards. And that's why I'm talking all about this problem solving, communication skill, which at this time you probably would have got bored of. But that's the reason I'm trying to talk about all this is I want you to become that complete data analyst so that any job that you see on SIG, you would be able to apply for that. And that's our goal, is to prepare you for all the jobs you can see. And don't take my word for it, because again, that's one of the traits of a data analyst or data professional is you have to have that curiosity, or you have to have that skepticism, and you need to validate those facts. Okay, so let's validate those facts that after this course, you can apply for all the data analyst jobs in SIG. So let's try to find that. All entry-level data analyst jobs. Let's do data analyst, Australia, and BI data analyst. Let's have a look at that. Responsibilities, BI report development. And you can see the first thing here is collaborate with stakeholders to gather requirements. Hopefully now you get it why I was focusing too much of my energy on requirement gathering and communication with the stakeholders, because that looks like the first responsibility of that data analyst. And then building interactive Power BI reports, yeah, it's there, but you get the point. Utilize data modeling techniques, all that, best practices on report design, and there is dashboard design and optimization, database management, and C, have a understanding of database structure and query languages. So they are looking for SQL. And again, Power BI, there you go. Yeah, there is SQL, there is Power BI, and that's all we will learn in this course. And that's what I also told in the orientation is you can actually become a data analyst without programming language. So you can see the example here. They are saying that yes, if someone knows Python, it's good, but it's under desirable. It's not mandatory. So if you're really good with other skills, you can still become data analyst. But if you have programming languages like Python, that definitely will be desirable. So that's a really typical example of how you will find the data analyst jobs. And let's have a look at some other ones. I think it's this one. That's the federal government one, I think. Yeah. Excel, Power BI, Python, and R. And they have combination of data skills from data collection, ETL, wrangling, cleaning, data mining, visualization, and data presentation. By data presentation, you probably are talking about communication. The communication is the top one, communicate effectively. So communication skill is one of the top skills you need to have to become a data analyst. And that probably would be a common scenario that you see. Again, govern BI, they got Power BI, and they got experience in data science, especially in predictive analytics, time series analysis, and all these things. Proficiency using programming language, R is preferred. So for this one, they're preferring R because this kind of more sounds like a data scientist role if they are focusing more on modeling and predictive analytics. So sometimes they don't use the right title. So even though they are saying data analyst, this kind of more seems like data scientist. But again, these job roles are just really weird because sometimes they put the responsibility in the job description, but they never expect you to do that. And sometimes they just use wrong job titles and whatever. So if you are really keen on applying for any job, what you can do is you can obviously inquire them. So you can see if you have any inquiries on this role, you can always reach out to them. There probably sometimes is phone numbers, and you can always directly reach out to them and see, okay, I have a question about this particular requirement that you had, or this is the kind of skill set that I have, and I want to apply for this job. Whatever, you can always ask those questions because these job descriptions are just really poorly written. And because in my past places that I've worked with, we have done a lot of recruitment and we have to send out a lot of job description. But because the job description part is usually handled by the HR department or other non-technical department, they actually don't know like what the real technical details or real requirements it is. It always comes out a bit weird when you look at the job description. So if there is any position that you really want to apply, but you're not sure whether you meet the requirement or not, I would say you apply for it anyway, but you can always directly reach out to those contacts and make sure you are understanding it well. And yeah, you can continue on and you will find the similar pattern. But what I want you to rely on here is don't rely solely on the title of the job. What I want you to rely on is have a look through the job responsibility, have a look at the selection criteria. And if you match, or if you feel like you match 60% of those requirements, you can always apply for the job. Because a lot of these are just optionals, or someone just copy pasted from some other jobs and it just looks impossible. But always look at the job description, look at the responsibility. If the responsibility sounds like, okay, they're looking for data analysts, we can do this and these kind of things, some reporting, some communication skills, some this and blah, go and apply for those roles. And again, like we come back to later on around the end of the courses, and we give you a quick overview of how to find your job, not just on Sync, on all the other job portals, and how to find the right match for your skill set. Not just your skill set, also your unique past experiences that you have. For example, if I have some experience in, I don't know any of these companies. This is Mayov, I think. So Mayov is an accounting software company, isn't it? So if you have got, let's say, accounting background and you know accounting well, maybe you will become a good analyst in this firm because they build software that accountants use. So when they are doing the analysis, maybe there is some accounting thing that can help you while performing this role. So if you have an accounting background, maybe this is a better fit for you. And we can keep going and we can probably find some of the other kind of things as well, but I guess you get the point. In data analyst, there is always this unique opportunity of leveraging on your past experience, and it will always help you. So we will help you find those kind of companies or business sectors that will be better fit for your background. I think we digress too much on that. Having a look at the job description. So what I want you to do after the session today is go out there, have a look at some of the job portals like whether Seek or LinkedIn or Indeed, whatever job portal you like. Try to look through at least 10 jobs, 10 data analyst job, preferably entry-level data analyst job in your locality. For example, I'm in Perth, so I will just go in and search for Perth. Then I can see that there are 691 jobs. And now I will look through some of these jobs and I will try to take a note of what are the skills that they are looking for. Like they're looking for SQL and Python, and they're looking for Power, and they will probably be looking for communication skills and things like that. So you can look at those trends in your locality And then you can now make it your goal and say, okay, because these are the skills that jobs in my locality are looking for, I will try to be good at these skills. And most of the time, you will probably come out to these 4 skills anyway, like Excel, SQL, Python, and Power BI. But when you create that list yourself, it gives you that sense of this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve. And not just technical skill, try to make a list of non-technical skills as well. Take a note how many times they mention communication skill. Take a note how many times they mention problem solving. Take a note how many times they mention requirement. And that will give you a sense of why these soft skills is important. And again, like I can tell you like so many times, but when you see it for yourself, that's probably when you will realize it more than me telling you 10 times. So I want you to at least do that, do it as exercise, and that will probably give you a good sense of what, like how many jobs are available, what sort of companies are looking for data analysts, and hopefully that will help you plan better for the future as well. Start with that, make it the starting point, and then we will continue from there. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for today.